We should never allow the government to decide what is acceptable speech and what is unacceptable speech. We should penalize behaviors, not opinions, and not speech. If you start trying to regulate speech, you start trying to regulate thoughts, you start trying to regulate beliefs rather than behaviors, there's no way that you're not going to abridge the constitutional rights of millions of Americans.
As disturbing as the news reports get on television, the most disturbing is how our country has changed the status quo for women. This video is to explain obvious events that have happened and continue to every day while society forgets them. Hopefully people will see the ludicrous ways our media hide the real facts about this world we live in. Men and women are supposed to be treated equally, but women have the obvious advantage by the way our judicial system treats their crimes against men's crimes. This video will discuss 2 crimes that have happened recently and how the judicial system favors women's crimes as less violent or responsible for them than men who are deliberately condemned for theirs. Recently, an Olympic doctor and therapist for the U.S. Olympic Committee was charged for sexual abuse against several gymnasts who after 20 or 30 years has come forward to shout outrage over this man's actions. First question we should ask is why it took them so long to come forward, unless their accusations aren't provable. Yes, the actions taken by Nassor were bad, but no woman ever died. Now take this case of a woman in Atlanta who murdered her own baby, didn't care at all about the child's right to live. She received a 15-year sentence for murder while Nassor, who didn't murder but molested women, is given 140 years. Does this not show deliberate intent to control men and subjugate them to women? Is that attitude any less criminal than men who do these acts? Let's take another case to show how perverted society has become. A few years ago, a mother killed her 4-year-old daughter and buried her in their backyard. The child's name was Kaylee Anthony. The child's grandfather found her body, and instead of reporting the murder to the police, he dug the child up and put the child's body in a trash dumpster. When the mother was identified, she was arrested, but the judicial system let her go. She said this after the arrest: "When I get out, I'm going to get pregnant again as soon as possible." Who knows if that child is now dead too or not? The judicial system now says, she's the mother, so whatever she does is totally okay with society. Murder is murder, no gender difference should be considered when a life has been snuffed out, yet society sees the mother as the birth maker and she has all rights to decide what is life, what isn't life. What life can live and what life should die is also a woman's choice now. Men don't even have the right to speak out about what a woman wants done to him. Double standards, it's real. Today, our own government is double standard. The Democrats control the media and they report what they tell them to report to the public. The Republicans are condemned and controlled by the Democratic hierarchy to submit to their opinions. President Trump himself released a dossier showing the FBI had shown willful bias against him during the 2016 election. What has the Democratic Party said since? Oh, this isn't the whole story, you can't base it on the dossier itself. The Harlot of Babylon, it's mentioned in the Bible several times. She will control men, she will control life and death, she will be the only voice in the world. That's America in 2018, women are the only voice we hear, women are the only gender considered valid in any given situation that takes place. Men are devalued, degraded, forgotten. Boys are totally obliterated from the society we live in as being valued. Look at the television and tell me I'm wrong. When you see a movie, a television show, what gender is emphasized more than either sex? Women, girls, even animals are now identified as female. The harlot of Babylon has received her power from one supernatural force, the devil, or Lucifer. Will women ever be put in their place again? I don't think so, because all the evidence we see around us has proven that Satan is controlling everything now for one gender's favor, the female. We have only shown a small number of cases where the obvious double standard was beyond discrediting. I watch television commercials and I see little, indirect, subtle references to women being all important and the guy in the ad being background noise to the woman's overbearing presence on screen. Equality was the one thing women always cried about when the women's lib movement began in the 1970s. Today, they are 1,000 times worse than any man who lived and had the brand of chauvinist pig. We see it going even further now about a woman's right to decide what is life and what is not life. Only God has that right to decide what is life, not a woman. She was the carrier of God's work, not woman herself. She worships herself, not anyone else. That is what the harlot of Babylon is, the worst of humanity since Adam and Eve were created in the beginning of time. Who beguiled Adam? Eve did. What reason did she give for sinning against God? Oh, I was tricked by Satan. Who tricks men today more than either gender in society? Women are, even the Bible tells us that. Beware of a woman who uses her lures, her fancy appearance to beguile men. Who is left to blame about the course of history other than Satan himself, who was cast from heaven? A woman started it, that is why they must be in control now. The final act has started, a woman started it and she will end it. That's how they see themselves. They cursed the world and now they are going to curse mankind for her own arrogance, again. If anything can be learned from this video I have made, it would be this fact: God will not look the other way forever. He will come and so will his wrath on a sinful mankind. What you do now will determine what happens next to the world. Will you look the other way and do what you want or take responsibility for your actions? Will you ignore the facts of history and live the lie called Obamaism, socialism, communism? Or will you take a stand and say to the world, I am not a part of this insanity that women have now started. I am an individual and I have rights to live. No woman makes that decision of whether or not I should exist. Only God can make that choice because He made us, no woman ever has. For society to be blinded by what women have been doing for more than 20 years, it means the spirit of Antichrist has taken over our minds. The more
I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man can come unto the Father, except by me. John 14, verse 6. Hasn't been shown that our world sees good as evil and evil as good? Those who don't see that are the blind who God said would not see, because they don't wish to. Keep watching Barack Hussein Obama's movements. His actions are supernaturally inspired. Lucifer will continue his plans, whether we see the Antichrist or not. Pay attention and pray that the Lord Jesus will come quickly for his bride, the church.